Boom! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Tuesday to you all. Welcome to another live beer review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a brand new brewery I've heard a lot about from my good friends, a couple friends that live over in New York that say a lot of good things about these guys, but this is my first experience actually drinking some of their stuff, so I'm pretty damn excited. Today, we got one called Swirl from Beer Tree Brews. This is out of, I believe they have two locations in New York. I believe one's in, where is this? Let's see. Okay, so this one's Camden, Johnson City, and they have another location in where? Let's look. Location, which is the farm. So they have the farm and the factory. The farm is located in Port Crane, New York, and then the factory is located in Johnson City, New York. So this is one of their variants of their Hyper Swirl. They've done a couple of different variations of the Hyper Swirl, but this is their passion fruit, raspberry, mango, vanilla fruited sour, and it comes in at a 6% ABV. And sounds absolutely delicious. I'm pretty damn excited to try this one out because I remember Logan, my good friend Mr. Logan Exhales, just had a beer from these guys on Sunday, which was like a milk stout from them. So I was like, hey, I just realized I had one of them in my fridge, so I might as well take one out to review it. So that is what we're doing today. Of course, as I mentioned before, it comes at a 6% ABV, which is well in that sessionable realm. I would say so myself. But yeah, I'm expecting some really nice tropical fruit notes. I'm hoping that vanilla adds a sweetness to it. The passion fruit's probably going to be where the main focus of the tartness, maybe a little bit of the raspberry as well. But I'm curious what the color's going to be like. Where the hiccups come from all of a sudden. But I don't know if the raspberry is going to do anything with color with this guy, just because there's so many like orangish, yellowish fruits that they put in here to where the raspberry is probably going to give it maybe like a little bit of a reddish kind of note in the color. But I'm expecting a nice tart, fruity, hopefully has a nice kind of thick, kind of heavily fruited sour, because after looking at the Untapped page for a sec, after just pulling it up, I saw some of the pores and they look pretty thick. So, of course, before I even crack this guy open, I always want to talk about what I recommend doing when you're drinking a fruited sour, just because it will help make your overall drinking experience of a fruited sour that much better. So, of course, when you purchase one at a liquor store or bottle shop, you're going to want to keep it refrigerated the moment you bring it home, just because there's a lot of fruit in there and there's a chance for the fruit in there to continue to ferment. And fermenting causes CO2 to build up in the can, and you don't want that to happen, and it's leaving it out in room temperature. So, because that will give it the opportunity for the can to burst when you decide to open it. So always make sure that you keep your beer refrigerated the moment you purchase it. And what I do is when you're getting ready to drink it, you take it out of the fridge, give it a couple rolls on the countertop back and forth just to get all the puree and all the sediment in there, start moving and making sure everything's all suspended in the beer. Because you want to have a nice even pour throughout and you don't want things to separate and all that kind of stuff. So give it a couple rolls on the countertop. Then one thing I like to do is when I'm bringing the beer to where I'm going to be drinking it, I'm always carrying it upside down, just because all the stuff that was sitting on the bottom, wherever you were storing it, is starting to move through and kind of circulate through the can and all that stuff. And yeah, that when you do that, you're going to crack it open and you should have a pretty even pour after that. So let's crack this guy open and see what this thing's like on the nose, because I'm pretty curious. So let's crack this guy open. Okay, let's see what we get on the nose with this guy. Oh yeah, definitely a lot of the passion fruit. Passion fruit brings in like a kind of like a bite to it. Getting a little bit of the raspberry, not much though. But yeah, mostly getting the passion fruit on the nose. Slight sweetness coming through. Yeah, smells delicious. And today I'm going to be drinking mine out of my Black Horizon Brewing Company little glass this afternoon. Let's see how this guy pours. Definitely has a nice kind of almost deep orangish color. Definitely seems like it's a little bit thick. Not as thick as something from like the Brain series from Drecker and all that kind of stuff. But there definitely seems to be a good amount of fruit puree in here. Give it a quick swirl when you pour it about halfway, and let's pour the rest of this in there. Not really much carbonation coming through, which is surprising. A little bit of a carbonation, but not too heavy. But look at that color. Definitely has those oranges coming through when it comes to the pour, but then you kind of get like this little kind of reddish kind of hue in the orange, so it's like a reddish orange almost in color from the raspberry. Definitely getting a lot of that passion fruit coming through still. Nice tartness coming off the nose. Maybe getting a little bit of the tartness coming through with the raspberry as well. Not really getting much of the mango coming through, but I'm expecting the mango is going to be more there in the flavor and adding creaminess to it as well. But yeah, this looks absolutely fantastic. A nice kind of thick fruited sour to start off the day. Who knows? This might be more of an effervescent one. I don't know, but definitely looks heavily fruited. So let's give this guy a try and see what this thing's all about. So cheers, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Ooh, okay. Right off the bat, you're getting that nice tartness from the passion fruit. A little bit of the raspberry is actually coming through a lot more in the middle than I thought. It kind of intertwines with the passion fruit. So it's like up front, you're getting a passion fruit and like raspberry tartness. The raspberry tastes fresh. It tastes vibrant. The passion fruit's definitely more on the lower end. It's right at the beginning. The passion fruit's right up front, adding tartness, and then right after you get that slight hit of passion fruit flavor, you're getting that raspberry that comes through. But then after you swallow, you're getting that like nice, pillowy, soft, kind of fluffy mango flavor that just lingers, and you get a nice sweetness, a little bit from the vanilla. Yeah, this is fantastic. I'm actually absolutely loving this guy. Wow, this reminds me of summer, even though we're not in summer yet. This is delicious. Yeah, absolutely delicious. That is a very, very nice fruited sour, if I have to say so myself. So, of course, if you don't know much about Beer Tree Brew Co., they have two locations. I mentioned it before. Then they have with the farm and the factory, two locations. The farm is more like they're in the woods kind of location in Port Crane, where you can get food. There's food trucks that show up every once in a while. And it's just a very nice, open, woodsy kind of environment with giant windows overlooking a forest and all that. And then their factory location, which is in Johnson City, has that more of like keeping that kind of like old style, like cabin-y kind of look, but in like a more of a modern city location, which I think is really, really cool. And they what they kind of strive to do is they stick to keeping beer with roots, so they're really like environmental based and all that kind of stuff. And they started in 2017, so what they say here is since 2017 we work to find the best quality ingredients and the best folks we can to bring you the best beer we possibly can brew. So yeah, that's pretty much sums up to what you're going to try to get from this brewery. They're trying to get the best ingredients for the freshest ingredients, and trying to create the best beer with the best crew they possibly can, which I can definitely appreciate. And then if you want to get their social media, I believe they have a couple social media platforms where they have the Beer with Roots is one of their, well, they have their Beer Tree Brew Instagram, and then it looks like they have a Beer Tree Farm Instagram along with the Beer Tree Factory, and then there's a Beer Tree Downtown page as well. So if you want to go shoot them up on their social medias and give them a follow to see what they're up to, there's definitely a couple little pages you can follow and all that kind of stuff. But let's start talking about this beer a little bit more. And of course, if you can't get your hands on anything from Beer Tree, Untapped does a really cool thing to where they show similar beers to that same style, and they do a similar beers list on their Untapped page. So looking under the Hyper Swirl for this one and looking at the similar beers, of course we're dealing with the same kind of situation where a same few breweries that show up in a bunch of fruited sours that I drink show up, like Dry County, SJ. But there's one here that may be similar. I don't remember talking about it before. It's from Pillager Rue Brewing. They're out of Pennsylvania, I believe. Yeah, so Pillager Rue, where are they located in Pennsylvania? So they're in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. And they have one here called Quarantine Dream, which is like a mango vanilla sour, which I think may bring similar flavors to this one, to be honest. But when it comes to the vibrant fruity flavors that I'm getting here, and just the fresh fruits and all that kind of stuff, how well they're mingling together, of course, a couple breweries are going to come to mind when it comes to getting this kind of fresh fruit flavor. If you're going to get the ones from Drecker, of course, maybe from the Brain series is probably going to be a good recommendation to start with. Maybe you can find some stuff from 450 North that may have that fresh fruit kind of thing. I know they do a lot of just regular fruited sours, and I know they also do like more of the pastry kind of sours, like how Drecker or 450 North does, and who else? RIR does it. I know Hoosier Brewing Company in Indiana does a lot of the pastry sours. But when it comes to just a really, really bright, vibrant, thick, and heavy fruited sour, when it comes to just straight fruit flavors, of course, the Brains line from Drecker is going to be the main one that I'm going to say would give you similar flavor profiles. So just look, so you see there's mango, raspberry, and passion fruit. So most likely Drecker has one that's going to be pretty similar in flavors throughout their entire Brains line. So you can just go to your local liquor store and bottle shop, look for the Drecker Brain series and kind of see if you can find some similar fruit profiles. Of course, finding one with passion fruit would help. Finding one with raspberry and finding one with mango would be a good one. But they also have that kind of vanilla kind of backbone in it to add sweetness, but then you're still getting a lot of those fresh fruit flavors in it as well. So I'm going to go with most of the stuff in the Brain series, to be honest, is what I'm going to suggest to be as similar to this. If they compare to the freshness of the fruit flavors you're getting, and it's just overall, yeah, we can put this up there with some of the fruit flavors that I get from Drecker and all that kind of stuff. So if you're a fan of Drecker, if you're a fan of 903 when it comes to just how pungent those fruit flavors are when you get a fruited sour, this is going to be right up your alley. 100%. Yeah, it's delicious. Absolutely delicious. Loving that, like, that sweetness you get at the end from the vanilla and kind of getting that semi-sweetness at the end with the... Definitely after it starts room temperature a little bit, the raspberry starts lingering more towards the end. So you're at the end, you're getting that raspberry mango instead of when it's colder, you're just getting that straight pillowy mango. But yeah, the flavors in here are explosive and absolutely fantastic. So let's look here on Untapped and let's look and see what the description of this guy is. So in this swirly whirly of bliss, you'll experience tart passion fruit with a combined honey-like sweetness balanced by juicy ripe raspberry, creamy mango, and soft vanilla. Hyper Swirl is the epitome of a refresher that will take you back to the summer, no matter what season you enjoy it in. So yeah, that's exactly what I get from this. Tropical fruit, raspberry, all the kind of fruit flavors that remind you of like a nice warm day and something that would be perfect on a summer day. And they absolutely nailed it with how refreshing and how delicious this beer is. So, that being said, like I said before, it's a 6% ABV, and with over 354 ratings on Untapped, this one has an average rating of 4.07 out of 5, which is pretty damn good for having that kind of lower scale of ratings on here. It's almost to the point where I feel like a couple more check-ins around like a point like a 4.25 would get this an average rating up pretty good. But let's see if anybody on my friends list checked this one in. I don't believe anybody did. Doesn't look like it. But let's look down here on the global rating and see what other people had to say. So, this guy gave it a 4. He was drinking this at Hall's Farms, The Barn, which is like it's like a farmer's market, organic grocery, and looks like it's in Oak Grove. Is that Montana? Okay, so you can get Beer Tree Brew in Montana, it looks like. But let's see. This guy gave it a full 5 out of 5. Let's see what this guy checked in a different beer saying it's the Hyper Swirl. I don't think that's it. I'm not going to talk about that one. We got a 3.5 here. We got a 4. We got a 4.25. Let's see. We got another 4.25 purchase off Tavor, which is how I got mine. Another 4.25. Another 4. Another 4.25 saying first beer tree brew. Oh, first beer tree brew. Perfect for NBT. Strong mango, tart raspberry, great beer. 100% agree with this guy. Let's see. This guy gave it a 3.75. Purchased at the Del Mar Beverage Center, which is in Del Mar, New York. Let's see. We got a 3.25 here. Purchased at Bob's Sunco, the Beer Cave, which is most likely a little liquor store in Maryland, it looks like. But yeah, a bunch of pretty good check-ins. Let's look at this last one right here. This guy gave it a 3.75. Purchased at the Fairgrounds Discount Beverage, which is in Lutherville, Maryland, it looks like. So it looks like they're distributing down to Maryland. It looks like Montana's in the area of getting their stuff. Of course, you can get a bunch of Beer Tree stuff in New York, since I see their stuff there all the time. But yeah, overall, yeah, this stuff is fantastic. So with all that being said, let's start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings on our end here. Let's see. Pour the rest of it into the glass. Okay, cool. First off, can art. Yeah, the can art in this one is pretty simple. Of course, any Beer Tree brew has their token kind of logo on it when it comes to having a hop tree, which I think is a really, really cool touch. It's always the logo that's going to always be right in your face when it comes to most of the stuff you get from Beer Tree. And then with this being a Hyper Swirl, I really like what they did with the can art, making like almost the swirls of the kind of the fruits you're using. A little bit of like that orange from the passion fruit and the mango. The darker colors that indicate like the raspberry and all that kind of stuff. So you're getting the purples, you're getting the pinks, you're getting the yellows, you're getting the oranges. And the colors are just very, very vibrant. Love the kind of swirl kind of look for the Hyper Swirl kind of name. having that big logo there on the side with nothing much else going on, I think they took advantage of the real estate while also keeping it classy, of course, with having the name of the beer, of course, with the fruits in there, and then just planting the big ass logo on there. I think it's just a way to keep it classy, but also a way to keep it appealing as well. So this would definitely be something that would catch my attention at a liquor store or a bottle shop for sure. So with that being said, I think I'm going to give this can art rating a very, very solid, like 4.25 out of 5. Really, really nice. But let's see what else here. If I got this beer in a flight at Beer Tree Brew, would I get another one? 100% yes. 100% yes. This is, for my first experience for a beer from Beer Tree, they're definitely put on the map for some of the better fruited sours I've had. This is definitely up there with some of the most heavily fresh tasting fruited sours that I think I've had in any brewery. Even I put these guys up with the likes of Drecker and all them 903. Just from this first beer experience, this is something that you guys should keep an eye out for. Any kind of fruited sour from Beer Tree is definitely going to be something for me to keep an eye out for nowadays, just because after this first experience. So I would definitely get another one of this in a flight, and I would also possibly get like a couple 4-packs to bring home, just because I like it that much. So with that being said, what is my final rating on this guy going to be? Let's see. I think I'm going to give this a very, very solid 8.75 out of 10. I really, really enjoy this one. I definitely want to see what kind of other stuff they have when it comes to their fruited sours. Maybe some of their other hyper swirls, see what other fruit combinations they have available. But when it comes to the fruited sours, I definitely want to try some of their fruited sours. Want to try some of the other stuff. Of course, they've come out some other milk stouts that I've wanted to keep an eye out for. So I may try to see if I can get my hands on one of those. But yeah, for this being my first experience from anything from Beer Tree, they blew it out of the park. So big shout outs to Beer Tree Brew for coming out with this absolutely fantastic beer. But other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and like what you see, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well, along with that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live to another review. If you want to possibly get some stuff showing up to your location from Beer Tree, Tavour is always a great option, but you got to be aware when you create your account with Tavour, when going through the App Store, they'll make you put in your zip code right away, but if you can't get stuff delivered to you through them, it's most likely because they take advantage of small courier services, and because those are more available in like more suburban areas. So if you're in more of a rural area, it may be a little bit more difficult for you to get your stuff from Tavour, or just because you may be in a state to where delivering alcohol through the mail is a little bit of a risque kind of thing, and it may not be allowed. You just got to go on Tavour when you're creating your account. You'll put in your zip code, and they'll let you know right away if you can get stuff delivered to you. But last but not least, always want to touch on this. If you're a fan of social media, if you're a fan of craft beer, you have to get yourself over to Untappd. It's a fantastic platform. You can check in beers, get badges, see what's popular in your area, see what's popular globally. They show you a bunch of different like coupon codes and discount codes for what kind of different services Untappd offers when it comes to possibly services like Tavour, where you can get beer delivered to you. There's so many other beer delivery services that they get discount codes for, along with a bunch of different services out there regarding craft beer. It's a really, really fun platform. Of course, if you haven't shot me a friend request and you're on there already, link to my profile's down in the description below for you guys. But yeah, get yourself over to Untappd if you haven't yet. It's a really, really fun platform. You can see people like me, Kentucky, Ian, Dutch is on there, Logan's on there, Face Meat's on there. So much of us are on Untappd just checking the beers and getting badges and having a good time. It's just a really, really fun platform. But other than that, I think that is what I have for you guys today. So again, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. Thank you everybody who's going to tune in on the replay. You guys are amazing as well. And I'm going to end this like I always end it before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see y'all next time. Cheers.